Welcome to the Living Word Podcast. I am your host, Geneviève, and these episodes serve as a reminder to how essential your fullest expression is on this planet during one of the most transformative times in our history. Together, we are going to explore truth through vulnerable conversations about life's deeper meaning, exploring holistic wellness, mindset, spirituality, entrepreneurship, love, and everything in between. Let's dive in, shall we? Hello, everyone, and this is a bittersweet, exciting episode all at the same time, because not only is this one of the last episodes of this incredible season, but I am joined today by someone who has many different roles in my life, personally and professionally. Today, I'm with Lila Galipeau, who is the founder of Partnr Media. She is a bright light in the world of online marketing, online business. She is my cousin. She's my soul sister. She's one of my advisors. There are so many different avenues I could go to introduce this woman, but one of the most important pieces that I want you to all take away from today is she is a walking image of what she preaches in life and in business. And that's really what we're going to be diving into today, because if it wasn't for her, this season, this podcast would not have happened. And I can say that with total confidence. And so it's exciting to really go behind the curtains today to talk about what we've learned together and really to just share you with the world, because you had a big completion recently. You're coming out to the world. Could you share a little bit about that and who you are with everyone to get started?
Thanks so much for that intro, Jen. Yeah, I just finished my undergraduate degree in business at the Telfer School of Management yesterday. So that's huge. And I've been scaling Partnr Media, my business, while doing this undergrad and being super involved in the university community, being part of different clubs, different events throughout my years at the school. And it's been such a, again, bittersweet thing to have that all come to an end, but it really feels like I'm just like at the edge of something even bigger, and I just can't wait to see what that is.
So well said. And what I know about you, because I've seen all these different seasons in your life, is you've always been at the forefront, like ever since you were young, right? Even the way that you were raised and how you were in homeschooling, like you've always been at the forefront of where the collective is going. And I do not think there's any different with what you're doing right now in business and bringing that understanding of the importance of being a full-time networker in the 3D and also building your brand and your online presence. And one of the things that inspires me every time we talk about you being in school, because for some of you out there, you may be being like, oh, university, like, do we even need that anymore? And yada, yada, yada. All of these narratives, which I understand them all, but you went into this with a mindset that was very different than most. And I think that's something that we can all take away in our everyday lives. Can you expand on just your vision of the opportunity when you went to school?
Yeah, so my parents had really alternative views when it came to post-secondary education. There was no pressure put on me at all to go to university. Honestly, I think they were a bit disappointed I decided to go to university. Yeah, so that was really unique. And obviously going into school, like most people have a lot of pressure from their parents or from society to do post-secondary education. But for me, I really went into it with a lot of intention because I took 2 gap years between high school and university, and I worked full-time in a management position at a grocery store, actually. And so that's like a big part of my story, because that's really an experience that gave me a lot of empowerment, because I had someone, the owner of the store, trusting me with all of this responsibility at such a young age. And it made me realize, wow, I'm capable. When I left the store, she actually offered for me to stay and take over her position as the owner and manager of the store. And I was like, no, university is the next step. I need to do this. I had a calling to do this. And I feel like everything that has led up to this point of graduation has really just been preparing me for what's to come, whatever that may be. And while I'm in university, I really felt like what you do, like the actions that you take, you need to be really, really careful with what you do and where you put your energy, because there is so much opportunity, but there are so many distractions as well. because there's so many people your age, different professors, different extracurriculars that you can get involved in, but you need to really pinpoint what your goals are and sort of work backwards and figure out, okay, which things can I get involved with that will help me reach those goals? And that's a really transferable lesson that people can apply to anything in life, honestly. It's like, okay, where do I want to go? How do I get there? Who do I need to meet to help me get there?
I mean, I'm listening to you and even just writing down the gap year, like 2 years, I forgot about that. It's even though sometimes we feel like we're paused in any chapter, but really we're acquiring what it is that we need energetically, emotionally, physically, financially. There's so much, and it's a beautiful how you really viewed that, and also the distractions. I know as an entrepreneur, I work from home, and I don't have kids, I don't have animals, nothing. And yet there are constantly distractions around me, and having to navigate, like, where do I want to put my energy? Where do I want to put my intention? And we know that that continues to shift. So how did you kind of navigate that while all of these pressures, and not just that you did amazing things, like you won all the awards too. Like it wasn't like you went in like in a minor way. So how did you navigate that through the years as you were also growing and expanding who you are?
So I know community is always really important to me. Growing up, I was involved in student council in high school, even in different clubs throughout elementary school. And I always like seek that out in any environment that I'm in. So the first thing I thought of course, when starting university was which communities do I want to be a part of? What do I want to get involved with? And the club community at the business school is incredible ecosystem to meet really driven people. And I was like, I need to be around people like that, because everyone knows this, like you are the sum of the 10 people that you spend the most of your time with. So I really wanted to make sure I was around the right people, and I didn't know what that would look like, but I really had a lot of trust throughout the whole process. And I think that is a huge thing that I want to share with people, because having trust in the outcome and just knowing that good things are meant for you and that good things are coming to you is what will keep you going. And that sort of hope almost that things are going to work out and that everything that's meant for you will find you is just huge. And so starting off school with that knowing, and after all of that feeling of empowerment that I gained, and that like resilience that I gained in my gap years, really helped me ensure that I could like make the most of university and not take my experiences for granted also. And so one thing that I really, really believe in is intention equals action equals outcome, right? So I'm not a huge like manifester person. Like I don't call my vision boards, I call them intention boards, because it's like, this is the intention that I want these pictures or these quotes to remind me of. And then those intentions inspire the action. And then therefore the outcome is a result of that. So it's like very like simple to follow, and it makes things happen a lot faster as well. And of course, when you're trusting the process the whole time, things just flow in different ways. And I've had so many instances where things didn't necessarily make sense in the moment. I was like, oh, like, why am I not getting this position on this team for this competition? Or why am I not doing this class this semester? And it just always flowed and made so much sense later on. And then it really got me thinking, okay, I just need to trust that everything's handled and everything is working out in my best interest always.
I feel emotional listening to you in a beautiful way, because it's all the things that even, and I think there's constantly an evolution of these concepts, but trust, I mean, even just this morning, I did a post about trust and how these new layers of trust just embody into your, of course, we're always connected in that way. Yeah. But it's like new layers of trust coming in, and every experience builds that even more. And for you, it's like, for you at the level you're at in life, because age, I really don't like when we use age for everything, the level that you're playing at in life, to understand that concept of trust is big, especially as a young woman, especially with all of that there is in the pressures of the world of online everything. And so I feel that deep in my core. And also knowing that no one has it all figured out ever. Doesn't matter what level in life we're playing at. We are always trying to learn and acquire information. And you knowing to surround yourself with good people is so amazing, and not comparing. And that's what I picked up from you a lot over the last year specifically, is how firm you were with your boundaries. and always creating boundaries to allow yourself the utmost space to succeed. And I want to know, like, creating boundaries, like, what does that look like for you? How do you determine them? Is it an easy process? Because I know you were like chomping at the bit. Everyone was like wanting to work with you. Your business could have probably 10x, but you knew if I hold these boundaries, it's going to 100x. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's really hard. Because I'm the type of person, and I think you are too, Jen, where when you have all these opportunities coming your way, you just want to do it all. Like, you want to be able to say yes to everything because everything sounds so amazing. And you feel like FOMO if you don't say yes, you know? So there's a lot of internal pressure. And then also, like, the pressure of, if you do say yes to something, but then you realize that you don't have capacity for it, then what do? You know? So boundaries for me, it was really all about just figuring out like what is the best like return on investment, first of all. So figuring out like, okay, I have this many hours in a week. How am I going to spend those hours? How am I going to maximize my time? And so one of the biggest things for me in the past year, growing my business while in school, I realized I need to hire some people. I need to delegate as much as I can so that I can still be a successful student. I can still win all those awards that I've been winning all of the university for all those competitions that I've been part of, and still be able to actually focus on school and learning instead of just executing for clients. So that was a huge, huge lesson. And I'm so grateful. Everything, again, just flowed. It worked out. I really find in my business so far, everything that whenever you ask for anything, it always just is given to you. And anytime I have anything happening that I'm not sure about, I just put it out there. And then a few days, few hours, few months later, it all makes sense. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And that is a huge part of my business. And I'm going to be so honest, like I would have so much anxiety and so much stress. And I think a lot of people burn out because they don't have that amount of trust, and they just keep looking at the numbers and keep looking at all the physical things and like try to understand how things make sense. But you can't just focus on that. You have to look at the big picture.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And like, what is my best return on investment? And that's a huge concept because it never changes. It's always that way, and it's going to evolve. I agree with you. It's like, who do I require in my corner in order to expand? And that's one of the things you really instilled in me with the podcast. And that's actually very interesting because what's the best return on investment? And it's like, I love talking to people. I'm very fascinated with people. And you were the one who's like, this is one of the best ways to diversify your content with doing one thing. And so this is what I meant at the beginning by Lila walks the talk in which she tells people to do. And I think it's so sexy when people are just like the embodiment of what they preach. And it's true. The bigger picture as an entrepreneur, the bigger picture, the faster you can surrender and lean into that, the better it is. And do you feel now you just finished school, you're all in, like you're all in. So all in. Is that like holding back and that all in feeling, like, how does that feel right now? Does it feel weird? Does it feel good? Like, are you running towards things? Are you holding back? Like, how does it look right now?
So it's funny because everyone was saying to me before my last exams, get ready, you're about to join the real world, the real world. Everyone's saying, oh, the real world is coming. I'm like, I've been in the real world. Like the way that I've gone into university and done my education and integrated it into my business as like a business strategy has been amazing. And honestly, it has not, school being done doesn't really feel like any different, to be honest. And I think maybe that's why I'm having a hard time adjusting, just because it's the same way that I've already been functioning, like being really mindful and intentional with my time and what I do myself and what I delegate to my team, and being sure to respect my needs and in order to grow the business even more and be able to give back to the community that I'm part of as well, the business community that I'm part of. Yeah, it's not that big of a difference because I feel like when you're living in your purpose, like it's just everything's going as it's meant to. And I'm just excited to not have to go to class every day. I think that'll be the biggest change.
Well, and it just goes to show that like achievement-based goal setting is not all that cracked up to be, because it never satisfies that like deep place inside. Like what you were just saying, right? You're already living your purpose. And it sounds like you just went on a 4-year mastermind. Like that's what I'm hearing. That's what it was for you, which is really amazing because you're current. What I notice a lot in the online space, and it is evolving so fast and you are current, and this is one of the things I love about what you're doing with Partnr Media, is you're not just giving strategy that could work, you're giving strategy based on what is working right now. And I think that is a theme in my life for sure, for all pillars of my business. Like, what is the strategy and what is the system that's working right now? Because it does change. And so now that you are going to be scaling your own business, I already have a list of people that I'm excited to send your way. They've been waiting for you. But as you scale your business and help other people scale theirs, what would you say are some of the most important things with having an online presence right now?
So I'm so glad you mentioned this, because I was literally talking to one of my team members about this morning. And it's that so many business owners don't have the big picture vision for their company or their growth or their expansion. And they're just focusing on those day-to-day tasks or those week-to-week tasks. And they don't focus on a few weeks ahead. They don't plan ahead enough. And the thing with marketing in any capacity, and really business development, because marketing at the end of the day, it's not just the 4 Ps, it's developing your business as a whole. And it is tied into every single piece of your business. People can't market stuff if it's not thought out ahead of time, if it's not planned out, because you can't talk about something that doesn't already exist, or something that you're not already familiar with, you're not comfortable with it. So the issue that I have the most when working with people is that they want to promote something, they want to do something right away, but they haven't put in that work that they need to in order for it to be successfully marketed. Because you can talk about whatever you want as much as you want, but if it hasn't been well thought out, and if there's no really clear guidebook to what you want to do, and you haven't thought out all those details, then there's nothing you can say that will make people interested in it. Just being able to be strategic about it. You can't be strategic. I think this is the big lesson. You can't be strategic if you don't have it planned out, because you're being reactive when you should not be.
I am going to be sending this to so many of my business partners and collaborators, because one of the areas this rings so true is we launched a new community this year, Illuminate, but we worked on it behind the scenes for 18 months, like 18 months of not even sharing it publicly. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to do that. Absolutely not. But what I know to be true is by doing that, there was not only clarity, but there was an energy that was the wind beneath the sails, that when it was finally time to share it, it was a confident, clear messaging that even if people didn't quite understand what it is or still don't, they can feel it. And I love that you said that, because if we are not thinking in the big picture, then nothing on the micro scale makes sense. And I know that there has to be strategy. I get it. That's one of the areas I'm really looking to improve, is the strategy. I can do big picture vision all day long. I can talk to people all day long. But when you're setting a vision for your next big picture, like, what are some of the things that you think about? And if someone was to be, expanding their online business, like, what are some of the thoughts that are really important to sit with?
That's a fantastic question. If you're working solely in the online business, you need to think about, obviously, like, how you're going to grow, like what markets are your growth channels. One of my clients right now, she started off really small, just focusing on her local community. But then I was like, why are you limiting yourself geographically like that? You don't have to do that anymore. So this is one of the biggest things I find people do. And even like limiting by language. Like, now we have AI that can translate everything you do, all of your content, into any language you want for virtually no money, right? So it's like, why are you putting up all of these barriers for your business to grow that you don't need to? Or why are you not just experimenting? Like, this is the thing. I think people are so afraid in business. They're like, oh, what if this doesn't happen if I do this? What if I don't execute this? What if this takes twice as long to do? But it's like, what if it all works out? And that's what I try to remind people too. Like, half the time in meetings with clients, I end up just being a coach because and you can't escape it. Like, if you have certain input that they need, you just have to share it. And it's been so amazing to see the impact of that. And I also really believe in integrating the real human connection and real human networking into that online space, as we've been talking about. And one of the biggest things that I do for my clients is helping them set up ambassador programs, referral programs, influencer partnerships, so that they're able to get their brand in front of people that have great communities already and are able to leverage the communities of others, because really, like, your online community is only as strong as you are and how much you believe in what you do. And so if you, as the owner of the brand or the company, if you don't believe fully 100% in what your vision is, what your mission is, what your products are, then your business is not going to be successful. And if there's something about your products that needs to be changed, you need to change that, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get those partnerships. You're not going to be able to build that community around those products and around that company that you created. And it's so funny, when I incorporated my business, I had an appointment at the bank and they were like, "Oh, congratulations on creating your business child." And I was like, that's actually such a good way to put it, because any business that you create, it's its own entity, right? I mean, in this sense, it actually was, because I was incorporated. So I created a legal entity, which is kind of cool. But I think business owners forget that. It's like, this business, it's like something that needs to be nurtured. It's something that needs to change every year as it grows and develops, just like a person. And it's something that you need to be investing energy and time in, and you need to iterate on what you do as needed, because the needs will change. The needs of your customers will change. The needs of the market will change. Landscape of the world, like, so much has changed just in the past 5 years, let alone past 10 years, you know? And there's so many different opportunities now that can be capitalized on, just this year even. So it's really interesting that to see people still limiting themselves and having those limiting beliefs, when really the sky is the limit, especially with AI. And I will talk about AI all day long, because we don't need to go into that too much.
I'm a firm believer too, but don't limit yourself. And that there's a worthiness component to that. We know that, like, what do I feel worthy of receiving? And there's also a really big component of just being able to see the big picture. I love what you said so much, because, last year we made the decision to walk away from a very big income. And we did that because the offers were no longer aligned with who we are, but most importantly, who we were becoming. And we could see the trajectory of where we were going in our belief system, in our offerings. And that was a really hard moment to look in the mirror to say, like, no amount of money is going to actually make this worth continuing. And that's something I see a lot too, is this scarcity mindset of like, well, I'm making this here. What if it doesn't work? It goes back to what you said about the fears. And it's like really successful people fail so much. Failure is the big win, because you don't know what's going to work until you try. And I love everything you're saying so much, because the authenticity and alignment in this day and age, we can call it the new earth, whatever we want to call it. It is really based on energy, and that is going to prevail any strategy. We can strategize all day long. My ChatGPT is called the Gigi bot. Her and I are really good friends. And it's like, we can have those tools to bring it to a new level, but who do you want to be? And why do so many business owners believe that it has to be a struggle and it has to be hard? There's already enough hard moments that we're going to experience. So why not open up the capacity of abundance, circulate that abundance around? I was in the hair industry for a while, and everyone was so closed down, like, no, this is my secret, this is my thing, and no one shared. You know what happened? A lot of them, their businesses freaking tanked with the online era. And that, like, we're all doing similar things with a different energy. Go, I want you to jump in. I saw that spark.
That's it. Yes. One thing that also holds people back is the fear of people copying them, and the fear of people, like, ripping them off. And I have had so many conversations about this with people. And I'll never forget, I was creating I did an elevator pitch competition when I was in second year of university. And I spoke to the entrepreneur in residence at my business school. And I was like, hey, I have this really great idea for this app. Would you recommend I talk to a lawyer and get it copyrighted before I present it in this elevator pitch competition? And he said, Lila, nobody can make that app, because the reason that app is special is because you're the one making it. And this is not even like someone like with any spiritual mindset or anything. He's just saying the truth of, if you're a good entrepreneur and if you have this idea, nobody can have the exact same idea as you. And even a few weeks ago, one of my clients didn't want to post a picture because it had something in it that was like an asset that she didn't want a competitor to copy. And I said, hey, like, what's going to stop this competitor from creating something similar? Nothing. So you need to just trust that your energy in your business is exciting enough for people to want to work with and to contribute to, and will attract people that those other competitors won't. Like, I really believe that there is space for everybody in all industries, and the people that are meant to work with you will find you, and the people that are meant to work with other people, let them have them. Let them, like, really.
Boom, shaka, laka. Like, this is what's up. And it's so true. There is room for everyone. There's like 7 billion people in the world. There is no lack of people. And if there's a lack in who you're talking to, then it's really time to literally move your environment.
That's it.
I live in Playa del Carmen. I walk down the road and could meet hundreds of people every day. And Hayden and I were laughing the other day. We're like, if we ever ran out of people to talk to, because that's what we do, we find people to talk to and talk to the people. If we ever found a lack of people, we would just walk down the road. And that's true anywhere. It's not just here. It's like you could go to the grocery store and meet 5 new people if you wanted to. And so that is such a mind thing. It's so wild. And especially in the online space. So you see, I heard this stat. I don't remember the stat. Maybe you told it to me, but it was like most podcasts don't make it to like 20 episodes or something like that. And it's like the consistency. And one of the things I know is it takes time to get wings on any project, especially podcasting. Like, I don't even know my numbers. You're so great. You're so good to me. I'm like, I don't know. All I know is that I'm committed to this and I'm going to do it. And by doing it, I've learned so much. Now we're prepping for the next season, which is going to be spicy and amazing. And I can't wait. But there's no way I would have even known how to get there if I didn't do it. Did I do it all right? Heck no. Did I miss out on a lot of marketing opportunities with ads? Of course I did. But it doesn't matter because it's just a fluid like movement forward. So talk a little bit about podcasting and everything else around that and why it is so important. Is it true? Is it 20 episodes?
I think so, but I'll have to double check that. Yeah. But it makes sense. But yeah, and just building on what you were just saying too, like collaboration happens at the top and competition happens at the bottom. That is a huge part of my business. I have that right on my website on the homepage. And the other thing that I was going to mention too, before we get into the podcast, is that people just need to take action. Like, I've had so many young people ask me, how do I start a business? How do I get into this? I'm like, it doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that you do something. And this is such a huge thing, because if I hadn't started my little lemonade stand when I was 5 years old, I mean, I probably wouldn't have this business now, you know? It's like everything just builds and builds and builds on top of each other. All of your life experiences, they just all accumulate and turn into something beautiful if you let it. And so yeah, going into podcasts.
If you let it. No, but that's if you let it, right? Take the little bit of the control off. Entrepreneurship is about, are you going to follow the nudge and jump? Truly.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, it's this, or I work at an office job for the rest of my life. And those are the options. And then like, okay, try this. That's the worst case scenario. It's fine. Right. I've done that. It's okay. Like, it's fine. But it's cool if this works out, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, literally, what is the worst thing that can happen? Anyway, so yes, podcasting is just fantastic because it gives you a platform to have an excuse to talk to people, right? So that's like what you were talking about. If there's certain people in your industry or in a new industry that you want to discover, that you want to get in front of and you want to pick their brain, having a podcast is such a great way to create those opportunities for yourself. So I use it almost like as a growth hacking tool, I guess, because you're able to build a network through it. It's so much more than just a way to get content, just creating a podcast. Like, so many people think, oh, I'm just going to create a podcast so people listen to it. But if this is where the strategy part comes in, if you really want to leverage it and get the most return on your investment in it, like what we're talking about, you need to make sure that those people are people that you wouldn't be able to talk to outside of your podcast for the most part, or they're people that you want to maintain your connection to and your relationship with, and you want to sort of give back to them also, because featuring someone on your podcast is also a really nice thing to do for someone in your network already. So it's just such a great networking tool, and I think people don't think of it that way at all, especially now. And I think it's going to change a lot in the next few years. I think people are going to realize the power of these platforms, because again, it's just being really intentional with your time and having a really intentional conversation with someone that you have to prepare for more than maybe a regular meeting. You have to be set up on your platforms for distributing it, and then you can create awesome content. Like, the best thing a podcast is good for is being able to repurpose content from each episode. And I talk about this as being the content machine. So just from one hour podcast episode, you can get like 10 different clips that you can use on social media. You can get all the different quotes that I give to you every episode that you can use in social media posts. You can create blogs based on each episode, based on the topics that you cover. You can create newsletters. Like, the sky's the limit. And it's all a matter of just leveraging that 1 hour recording and getting the biggest return you can by using that content as many different ways as you possibly can. So it's a networking tool, it's a content tool, it's a business growth tool. It does so much, and it is like the quickest, simplest way for you as a business owner or a business leader to invest your time and your energy into one thing so that you can use it in so many different ways.
I love that. And that's how I looked at it. I really wasn't looking like what's going to be my direct return on investment. It was really like, I know that this is a way to build authority in different areas and to connect with people. And you really showed me the ease of it. And I was going to do it on my own. I was like, oh, I had my podcast stuff ready for like a year, and I sat on it and I didn't do anything because it didn't feel right. And I was like, am I really going to take on one more thing to do? Because yeah, okay, great. I could do it, but is it going to be fun? Probably not, because it's a lot. The consistency is a lot. And when we teamed up and I hired you to work with me and to be my advisor, it was the best decision I made, because not only was it consistent when I wasn't. So if I became inconsistent, all I had to do was record the episodes and hand it over, and the rest would happen. Even now, like, I've barely scratched the surface of what's possible with the recordings. And that's why in this pause, like between seasons, I'm really excited to repurpose that material, because it's really good stuff. And I also reminded myself, actually, my coach reminded me this the other day, Jen, the podcast is not, the episodes aren't going anywhere. They are in the internet. They're available for life. So there's no, like, I was putting this pressure on myself all the time. Oh, I haven't used this episode enough. Now the next one's coming out. She goes, there's no time limit to when you can and can't use things. And so now I'm like, wow, what a blessing to have this archive of like 25 episodes before going to the next season. And I love the way that and because we're expanding our partnership, and now we're going to be starting a blog and utilizing this for the website. And I'm really excited to just see how this continues to like take other legs and other forms. And you are so current in how you deliver information. And what I love about you is your ability to take everything, to look at it objectively. You don't take anything personally, which is very different for a creative field. You are so objective. You always have a growth mindset. You always put the person first, which, well, in this case, it was me. And I think that right now, as you're really educating on the power of podcasting and you're helping other business owners like create this pillar, that is one of the most badass things I've seen, because you make it so simple. And I wanted to say that in a bunch of different ways, because if there's anyone if anyone is looking to start this, don't do it on your own. Please reach out to Partnr Media. Please reach out to someone, because you will get discouraged before it even takes off, because the first couple months, it was a little bit stressful. Like, let's just be real. For me, it was, because I didn't know what I was doing.
That's it. And just the consistency part alone is so intimidating to people, because like I always say to you, it's really only good if you do it every week or every 2 weeks, or you stick to a consistent schedule if you want to have consistent listeners, right? And also, just so you don't get off of the bandwagon of creating the podcast episodes in the first place. Once you get in that routine, then it's really easy to keep it going. And that's probably what you found. But just like any routine, like you're saying, the first few months are hard, getting into it, sticking with it, getting over the fear of talking on the camera, of speaking to different people that you may not have met before. There's so many different layers of fear that you have to get through. And I feel like you've probably worked through a lot of those already, because you already create a lot of social media content on your own. But some people I work with, they haven't had that experience yet. So it's a lot of interpersonal work that needs to be done as well. Yeah.
I love that. If someone was really excited about starting a new podcast or a YouTube channel or something, like what are kind of like the key things to start thinking about before you just start recording?
The main thing is to get comfortable speaking in front of a camera, because that is a huge skill. Like that alone is a huge skill, and it's a muscle you have to build. And just recording yourself talking alone, having a fake conversation, or just even reading something out loud is a really great way to start. Being able to improve your presentation skills as well. I'm lucky in my business degree, we invested a lot of time into being able to speak well and present well. And even in my extracurriculars, we did a lot of that. And it's such a huge, huge skill. There's so many courses you can do on like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera for public speaking. And that is just such a fantastic skill for this type of work too. There's also just a lot of different tools and platforms out there available to you, and different like physical tools as well, like different microphones, different cameras, different lighting setups, getting familiar with the different locations you have available to you, and figuring out like what the issues are with each of them, because you don't want to start recording your first YouTube video and then realize that you can hear everything from the street downstairs on this video. So that's a huge thing. Just all of the physical elements, and then all of the mental elements, I would say.
Just like today, everything was quiet and then they decided to start doing yard work downstairs, and knowing like, okay, I got to mute this because there is no amount of like background noise cancellation that will, and it's like, but those things happen. It's literally never going to be perfect ever. And I feel grateful that I've presented thousands and thousands of times, and it's allowed me to be very comfortable and actually embracing the weird moments, like embracing when things get a little bit sideways. And I think that's what gives it, like, we're human. It should have real life incorporated into it, or else we're never going to do it.
That's it. I talked to one of my clients last week, and she was saying, Lila, the biggest thing I've learned from you is to not be a perfectionist. And I said, can we reframe that for a second? Is it not be a perfectionist, or is it you learned how to execute? And she said, that's it. She said, that's exactly it. I now know how to execute. I know what I need to focus on and what I can let go of.
There's so many golden nuggets in this, and we always create magic. I can't wait for you to come down here again and us do this in person, but you really are a beacon of light. And I am so grateful to know you so personally, but also I'm really excited about growing how we work together professionally, because you have this divine innate ability to connect with people at such a deep level. And I think that also, when contributing to the bigger vision picture, and your humility, and you're always wanting to learn. And I would just love to share, because one of the reasons I was really excited to do this with you is because I want to share you. I want people to be able to, there's so many incredible people with incredible ideas and businesses that they just need support to get it off the ground. And so I would love to know, like, who are you calling in to work with right now? I know you actually already have a waiting list, but that's okay. Let's expand. Who are you calling in to work with right now?
So right now, I really want to work with people that want to do that content engine. So people that want to create that podcast and then leverage that podcast in all the different mediums, like I was talking about. So the blogs, the newsletters, etc. And I think the types of people that I want to work with are people that already have established companies, and they're just looking for that extra spice in their content, or that like lowering their investment in the way that they've already been doing things and trying something new. People that are willing to experiment, people that are willing to try new things, people that are really excited to share what they're offering. And so like any sort of thought leader, coach, business owner. I work a lot with e-commerce companies, but I think for the content engine, working with those types of thought leaders and coaches will be the big thing, because it's something that you can do so easily, and you can be anywhere in the world to work with us.
I love that. And I'm excited for all of you who just feel the call to work with Partnr Media and Lila. All the information is going to be in the show notes. I'm grateful that we both were able to launch this podcast and finalize the season together. Like, what an absolute gift right when you're finishing school too. Like, so many divine synchronicities coming together right now.
Yeah. It's been 1 year of the living word. Yeah.
1 year, and we're finishing it with living words from both of us. It's so beautiful. And thank you for your wisdom, your time, your knowledge today, for just sharing how simple it can really be. It just takes consistency and trust. It takes having a bigger vision and just going after it, regardless of what the outcome is going to be. Be messy, be beautiful. And thank you for being here, Lila.
Thank you. I can't wait to chat again soon.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Living Word podcast today. My hope is that you have something new or a remembrance that you can apply in your life right now. Isn't that the whole point of us learning and growing? To take new understandings and alchemize them through our own human experience? Please like and leave a comment or review if you enjoyed this episode, and share it with people in your life who would benefit from hearing it also. Make sure you subscribe to the Living Word podcast on your favorite platform and be the first to know about upcoming episodes. Sending so much love and gratitude to be on this journey together. See you soon.